here's a sad story. You have this lady, which is driving a van, and the van breaks down in the middle of the night. So she calls the company in order to tow her vehicle, and she mentions the fact that she's a woman and she's alone, and she wants them to go there faster. But they're telling her, it's like, no, we can't get there faster. I mean, just because you're a woman, that doesn't make you a priority. So she goes on the internet and she complains about this. She points out that the company treated her like this and said, well, we're trying to provide equality. We're not going to favor women over men because that would be discrimination. I don't know if it's legal, to be honest, to even discriminate like that. I think it's fine if a company, for example, wants to go there and help women before men. I mean, if they prioritize their female customer, I think that's actually legal. Like, for example, if you have a nightclub and the bouncer allows the pretty women in, but they keep the ugly men out, I think you can do that. Or if you have like a female-only gym, you kind of are allowed to discriminate, but this company just doesn't want to discriminate. Like, this company is a communist company and is like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. And she's getting really upset about it. She posts on Twitter, and she says that is not equality. I will now wait alone in the dark for 90 minutes or something, which is a lone woman nowhere near home, is far more anxiety-provoking than it would be for a man. Okay, this is now mansplaining. I mean, I get that being alone from home in a truck is anxiety-provoking, but which man? Who are we talking about? Like, are we talking about Stallone? Like, yeah, probably Jason Momoa or Stallone wouldn't get anxiety if their car broke down in the middle of nowhere. But if you look at a man that's more scrumpy, maybe a 18-year-old guy or a 20-year-old guy that's skin and bones and he's unable to even throw a punch, yeah, he would probably get a lot of anxiety as well. And at the end of the day, just because you're Jason Momoa or Stallone doesn't mean that if you're in a dangerous neighborhood, it's not anxiety-provoking if 3 or 4 other guys are approaching your truck. So, I'm not Rambo. I mean, maybe I can hold my own against one guy, but if it's 5 guys, like, no matter the strength that I have, no matter if I am He-Man, it's not going to change anything. So, yeah, I mean, even if we put the criminal element aside, because, well, that's why you're probably afraid of the dark. It's not like the boogeyman that's out to get you. You're afraid that crime might happen during the dark. But let's put the criminal element aside. Like, what if some other guy is having his car breaking down and he really needs to go to that job interview or something? Or maybe he really needs to go home because he really needs to do the homework with his daughter before talking her in. Why is his time less valuable than yours? Like, just because you're having anxiety, so you're not in any actual danger, but you're having anxiety, your time is now more important than the man's. Or even another woman, right? That doesn't have anxiety. And isn't alone. Like, maybe she has her car broken down in a very illuminated downtown area. And she needs help, but I guess she has to wait because Miss Anxiety in the dark requires help. Or a woman with a man. A woman with a man in the car. No, like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm absolutely baffled about the emanation of privilege that is coming. I was lucky to have help from the AAUK Chris who sorted the problem for me and I'm home safe. Thanks, Chris. The membership came with a car purchase from blah 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 who might want to review policy too. It seems that I need to clarify. I was not in a supermarket car park. This was simply a given example of locations where women might find themselves. Okay, but like, you're in a first world country and nothing happened to you. Like, there was literally no danger. It was just in your head. And because of the danger being in your head, instead of the solution being to visit a psychiatrist, your solution is to lecture the company for not giving you special privileges, for not treating you as an emergency, I suppose. And I kind of get why a lot of people on Twitter were giving her flack. It's due to the mainstream media and the activists. I mean, there are just so many articles that say that men are bad, men are evil, or men are toxic masculinity this and toxic masculinity that, and men keep women down, and there needs to be equality, and blah, 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 blah. So all these articles are insulting men. And even worse, they're creating the idea that if you help women, it's benevolent sexism. I'm not kidding. Like, Google benevolent sexism. So benevolent sexism is when you go out of your way to help someone just because they're a woman. Like, that's also bad. So now you indoctrinated men into thinking that treating women differently is bad. So when you actually do have a woman that does need help, because let's be honest, in a patriarchal, cisgender, heteronormative society, yeah, you would go and help the old lady or the woman who's trapped during the night in a dangerous alley. Right? Like, if this was happening 40 years ago, it would have been unthinkable for the company not to go help her out. But now we live in a progressive world. We live in the anti-racist, multilateral, developed, multiracial society where you do have equality. So when you have equality, well, it means that now you have liberation. When you have liberation, it means you have freedom. Freedom comes with dangers. You cannot be free and be safe at the same time. You're either taken care of, and if someone takes care of you, then they also restrict your liberty and freedom. Or you have liberty and freedom, but then you also have dangers. They can't coexist. Okay, you can't get the best of both worlds unless you want privilege. Unless you want privilege, but that's the quiet part, right? So this is the ideology. And I don't know, if this lady is an activist or a feminist or whatever, but this is the end result. If this would have happened in Romania, exactly the same case, if it would have happened in Romania, yeah, people would have blamed the company. It's like, come on, really? Couldn't you do anything to help her out? I mean, she was an only woman in a dark alley. Why didn't you do something, right? But that's because Romania is the heteronormative, cisgender, gender norms, patriarchal society that everyone hates. So in that society, yes, women are prioritized because the role of the man is to help the woman in distress, the damsel in distress, like Rita Sarkeesian says. But in the progressive, anti-racist, multilateral, developed society like Britain, well, now the roles are changed. No, it's equality. Okay, if you don't like it, you can always identify as a man, whether you're in the back alley. What, are you some sort of a TERF? Just identify as a man and then boom, you get all the privileges, right? So that is interesting. This is quite an interesting conversation, which is sparked. And by the way, I've got nothing against this lady. I don't know who she is. I don't really, please do not contact her. It's something that blew up on Twitter. It's in the press, so that's why I'm talking about it. It's not the person, it's the idea behind it. It's interesting to ask, what do people want? Do you want freedom, but freedom comes with danger? Or do you want safety, but safety comes with less liberty? For example, the Australian people, they want the government to keep them safe. And you can see how safe they are. Are they free? I mean, it's kind of like China Light over there. I don't know. They're not as free as the Americans, that's for sure. But you can't have both. You can't have freedom and safety. You need to choose. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.